My English is not good enough because in my previous 20 years I haven't spoken. So just started this year. So I'm using this PowerPoint. I have 8 points to talk about today. First, I would like to introduce a cultural gene hypothesis as an effort to identify root cause of the China problem that we discussed today. And then I introduce a little bit about the multicultural gene groups competing domination in society-forming processes. And this is also an explanation of why we ended up today in today's situation. And I would like to point out that the 2 major cultural gene groups, not the whole genome, but just identify 2 major ones. They're competing to push for 2 different China. One is a better civilized, joining the mainstream civilization. The other one wants to dominate the world, dominate the whole globe, the whole planet by their own vision. We have been working to push China towards the right direction till 2009, which is the 3rd time I escaped from China. I took that red pill since the age of 9, maybe from 9 to 15 during the Cultural Revolution. That effort failed. The point 5 is in Washington, we have dragon slayers and the panda huggers. I think the 2 groups need to reflect and coordinate, most importantly. And I have been advocating the need for a 4-China strategy. Basically, the 2 different major cultural gene groups, and also including Taiwan into the picture. So we have 4 sections to deal with simultaneously, systematically, in the same time. And number 7 is the US government should stand firmer in fighting against dragons. I think the Trump administration is doing on the right direction, but it's not firm enough. The last one I would like to say is the need to help facilitate the pandas to self-organize into 4 big parties by international NGOs, NPOs, think tanks to fight back a large-scale stealth war to help pandas. Because they are fighting, CCP is fighting a stealth war or unlimited war. They call, just Lao Wei said, it's an over-limited war. They are doing that. Why not we doing the same thing, fighting back? Okay, so first one, the cultural gene hypothesis is an effort to identify the root cause. Because in medicine for human bodies, we have symptomatic treatment versus cause treatment. Well, if you got a regular cold, they get a sneezing nose, you do the symptomatic treatment. But the root cause usually sometimes can be done, sometimes cannot. So I use that analogy to analyze in social problems. We must learn from the medical science to find the real root cause, and this is the effort of doing so. In human body pathology, diseases may be caused by germs, virus, or problems in genes. In human society pathology, it's wrong. The cause may be the wrong ideas, such as communism, maybe the evil mindsets, or something deeply rooted in bad cultural gene. And the situation is, in biological genes have been well documented, but the cultural genomes of different societies is still a virgin field to be explored. In biology, you have a chromosome, you have DNA, and you have a gene going. If you increase your cognition resolution. But in society, you have ideology, religion, and you have mindset, and you have something I call cultural gene. So a gene is like a user manual to create, to run the body. So the cultural gene is like a society's cultural manual. And my point is some cultural genes are bad or evil, leading to bad behaviors. So for human body, we have 46 DNA molecules, 46 long chains of genes. And in our human society, we can analyze. It contains X number of cultural DNAs containing Y number of cultural genes. And cultural genes, in my definition, is the belief behavior codes. It has a very specific format, like a computer program. If A is something we recognize, and then X, else Y, we do X, action X, or we do action Y because of Z. Z is a hidden belief. So the cultural gene of CCP is what I call the dragon gene, coming from 2,000 years of Chinese tradition. And the communism, which comes from a combination of so-called ancient Chinese dragon gene and Soviet imported communism combined together. I have other writings to deliberately discuss that. And my point is, CCP cultural gene are in full conflict with the mainstream civilization, rooted from the Ten Commandments. So, two major cultural gene groups, not the total genome, competing to grow two different tribes. And this section representing what I say the dragon gene group. And this section representing what I call panda gene group. And this section, gray one, is the Uyghur. The Uyghurs currently trying to do an independent movement. And this tiny orange line are Tibetans. These are their population spread. And this section is Falun Gong believers. And these are Christians, both openly or underground. So the situation is, except this section, and the dragon gene dominates all of this section, which they call themselves chives. It's a strange term. Why chives? Because chives you can always cut and then grow, cut and then grow. So they are taking the huge amount of profit from this section, trying to manipulate, oppress this section. And oh, thank you. So basically, this whole section consists of a major Chinese people, and there are many terms to describe them. People are basically they are waiting for slaves. They're worse than slave, because slaves are always thinking of how do we fight for the freedom. But waiting for slaves, or some people call them domestic humans, obedient humans. So this big section is kind of like kidnapped by CCP. So that's the current situation, and I worked inside China from 2002 to 2009. We were trying to redefine the Chinese flag, because previously their meaning of these 4 stars are all outdated. So we were trying to redefine another set of value system, honesty and credibility. and rationality, and scientific thinking, and system of thinking, foresight, seeing things more complete, and communication, and team, collective wisdom. So that was the group we have been working on many years, trying to push China towards this direction. However, it's ended up that flag was Denmark cartoonist from Denmark. So the current situation is pretty bad, and that's all of you already aware of. So my point is, inside China, there are two forces going on. And the panda force representing the universal value, the mainstream value system. And the dragon gene is currently much stronger than this side. So my point is, for the US, we need to not only fight with them, but also we need to support them. For every Chinese citizen or people speaking Chinese, they must make choice for their value principles. To the left, you see the regular thinking style dominated by dragon gene. They're ranking people, they're ranking each other, they emphasize on face saving instead of honor. So there's no equality, there's no real honor, no real. I mean, the different gene set, cultural gene set, this side is developed since the days of Bible, the Ten Commandments, and all the way going down after one religious revolution after another, and become today's mainstream democratic value set, and focused on balance of power and democracy. But that side, the left side, it will ended up a totalitarian society like what you see today. So even I have a radical suggestion that the name of the country is still, if it is still there after this chaos, should be changed from 中国 to China. 中国 means the middle kingdom, and the center state. It's a problematic perception because China is not the middle of the world, but they, all of them subconsciously perceive them as the center of the state. So China, different name, same English, but different Chinese would emphasize the harmonies, peace, and tolerance. So that's my suggestion if there is a new China coming. For the Washington dragon slayers and the panda huggers, they need to reflect. Basically, I would propose that the following 10 government administration, what did they do wrong and what did they do right, needs to be all reflected from FDR all the way to Obama. So there are things, in various kind of China policy at the old time, they may did something seems reasonable to them. But from today, we see from the hindsight, we can gain some wisdom from there. Just like a law, we emphasized that we need to really find out what was wrong by us. So the idea of for China, I'll give me 1 more minute because this four strategy, the four China strategy idea is it's done in a video program of about 1 hour. So if you're interested, I can give you detail on this. So I won't talk. And the US government should stand firmer fighting against the dragons. Number one is technologically, can we tear down their Great Wall on internet? 2, can we enhance the shortwave broadcasts such as video and radio free Asia? Can we use the satellite broadcast to smartphones directly to let them know the truth? And all American Chinese should review their votes when they join the US, because a lot of them are not going, following that vote. And inside US, there are advocates of CCP dragon ideology. These people, should they go back to China? I mean, should they just stop doing what Laurie just talked about, the infiltration here? The last one is the need to help facilitate pandas to self-organize in 4 big parties. Basically, cleaning up party, disinfection party, communication party, and big training facilitation party. And these 4 kind of movements can be spreaded spontaneously, self-initialized, self-organized, and non-structural, non-hierarchical, spreading to every corner, every village, town. So that's my proposal. And maybe we need more NGOs and NPOs to fight back on this effort. That's it.